Good morning. Well, or afternoon, depending on when you're viewing this. This is Pastor Amy Slater coming to you from my office here at Southgate United Methodist Church in beautiful Lincoln, Nebraska. It's kind of a misty, overclouded day, but we're still working to keep our spirits up. It seemed that last week's video went over pretty well. I appreciated all the responses to my request for the self-portraits. My mind is losing my words. Yes, so thank you all of you who sent in your self-portraits. I showed them on the video on Sunday. They didn't quite come through. So Julie and I are working on possibly scanning those and doing a slideshow loop over these weeks where we're just doing streaming only. So please continue. If you haven't sent yours in yet, but you want to, there's still time. We're just going to keep adding the portraits and continue to share those as a visual reminder of how we're connected, even though we're physically separated, how God's Spirit continues to keep us as a family, as a community of faith. So few announcements, some things that are still going on related to our church. I mentioned last week that the backpack program was going to be distributing on Fridays. We had some of our volunteers do that on Friday, last Friday, and then received word from the food bank that they are finding different ways to distribute the food. So we're putting the backpack program on hold, and the Lincoln Food Bank is finding alternative ways to help out families and get food out there, just as a way to kind of minimize exposure of their volunteers to anything. So if you find yourself in need of assistance, you can go to the Lincoln Food Bank, another visual aid, fancy dancy visual aid here, lincolnfoodbank.org. That's where you can go. And they have mobile food distribution sites. I believe that they're still working on finalizing plans, but you will find the most recent information there if you are in need. So rest assured that even though our backpacks are on hold right now, they're still working hard to get food to people who need it most. Some other bits of news. Our garden committee is getting up and running again. Peg sent me an update that they've been meeting virtually. They're coordinating gardeners at the Community Crops Garden, which is at 46th Street and Pioneers Boulevard. See it right when you drive by on Pioneers. They've put a few things on hold, but they're still going to work on planting in the garden. Just, they're following the advice of the recommendations on social distancing and all that. They're going to be planting some cool weather crops soon. Garlic, onions, spinach, lettuce, and radishes. Yum. And they've got a few other things going on too. They've restocked the Little Free Library and gonna get a waterproof toy box near the gazebos, place for the kids to play while their parents are gardening as well. So the garden ministry is continuing and getting ramped up for the planting season. So that is good news. You always love signs of life, especially at this time. The education committee is working on sending out packets of Sunday school information and activities to our kids in the grade school Sunday school. So that's K through 5. So if you should be getting that if you have a kid who regularly comes. If you don't, but you're interested in those materials for your kids, just let us know and we'll send you some stuff for them to work on at home. And also, our outreach is working on sending some materials, some fun activities to the preschool families. You may not know, our preschool is closed as well. We're following the schedule that LPS is following. If LPS, Lincoln Public Schools, is closed, we're having the preschool closed as well. So those kids, I miss those sweet little faces as they walk by my door and say, "Hi, Mrs. Pastor Amy." Really missing them. But our outreach committee is working on sending some stuff out to them to do while they're at home with their families. So one of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately are heroes, which is why I wore my Superman shirt today. Heroes of all kinds. I remember back when the tragedy on September 11th occurred, and one of the things that came out of that was recognizing heroes in our first responders, and the police and the firefighters and the paramedics and EMTs and all those who responded to that tragedy. And I'm seeing again that our culture, we're lifting up those who are on the front lines of this battle against coronavirus, especially our healthcare workers, doctors and nurses, and all of those who are on the front lines helping patients and also putting themselves at risk of infection. I continue to pray for all of you who are fighting that battle, and pray for your well-being and safety. And also wanting to lift up others who are enabling the rest of us to stay put. The people who can continue to go to work because their jobs help deliver vital food supplies or fuel, transportation, our grocery store employees, those in food service who are still providing drive-through and carry out. The list goes on and on. I'm sure I'm missing some people, but it really makes me appreciate all of those things that go into making my daily life easier, and I'm sure many of you as well. So I lift those up and know that I am praying for you as well. Those of you that are everyday heroes who are still going to work, possibly putting yourselves at risk for infection, just so that the rest of us can do our job in staying put. And that leads me to my final thought on this video is I've been thinking a lot about a rather obscure character from the Bible, somebody who was given some instructions but just thought they were too simple and didn't understand at first, just thought it was too easy. Many of us who aren't part of those vital services or in healthcare are finding ourselves either confined to home or in our offices with just one other person, like Julie and I here are at this church. The instructions to stay put, avoid other people, wash your hands. When we see other people sacrificing and doing these big things, staying at home and washing our hands just seems too simple, doesn't it? But it makes me think of a character named Naaman. And you can find this story in 2 Kings chapter 5. Woohoo! There's my visual aid. You can find it there. So Naaman was a general for the king of Aram. And this was a neighboring country that kind of had a lot of skirmishes with Israel during when there was like the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. We're talking the northern kingdom of Israel. And Naaman was a general for this other country. And he has a skin disease. And he goes to his king and says, "Can I travel over to this other country? Because I've heard that there in Israel, there's somebody who can provide healing." And so the king of Aram says yes and go. And Naaman really prepared a lot. He was expecting a big deal, having to beg for this healing. He took along 10 kikars of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing, presumably to offer these in payment for healing. He went to see the king of Israel, saying, "I hear you got somebody there who can heal me." King of Israel is a little distraught because he's not quite sure what this other king is expecting. But Naaman goes to this king, and Elisha hears word that this guy is looking for him. Elisha is a prophet, and he is the one who can provide this healing. So Naaman travels then to where Elisha is. He's traveled a far way with all kinds of gold and silver, prepared to offer gifts and all. And he goes and he approaches Elisha's home, and Elisha sends out a servant who tells him, go and bathe in the Jordan River 7 times, and you'll be cleansed. You'll be cleansed of your disease, of your skin disease. Naaman was angry. He was thinking to himself, that's it. That's all you have for me. I could go and bathe in any other river. There's rivers back in my country that are a heck of a lot better than the Jordan River. He was expecting Elisha himself to come out, wave his arms, and do some kind of hocus pocus and cleanse him of the skin disease. He was expecting something big, or maybe some kind of quest or some kind of big payment. And all Elisha told him to do was go take a bath 7 times, but go take a bath in the Jordan River. That's all he wanted to do. And so at first he was angry and he wasn't going to do it. But his servants talked some sense into him, and he went and he did it. And lo and behold, the skin disease disappeared. And even when he offered all of this gold and silver and fancy clothes to Elisha for this, Elisha's like, no, this is what I do. I don't need payment for this. And so Naaman goes and he goes away healed. And I think at times we forget that sometimes the simplest things can have the greatest impact. And right now, in this time where we are in a global effort to fight coronavirus, it seems simple to stay home, wash your hands, don't touch your face. And yet those actions can save lives. They can save your own life. They can also save the lives of others who are deeply vulnerable to the disease by helping prevent the spread. So I offer this as an encouragement to you. Even as you're at home, maybe you're bored or just wondering, is this doing any good? I assure you that yes, this is doing good, and we need to keep doing it, and we will keep doing it as long as our local healthcare authorities say that we need to keep doing this. So please know that I am thinking of you and praying for you, and remember that God loves you, and so do I. See you Sunday.